Welcome to the Bret Boone Podcast. I am Bret Boone. Today on the program, I'm joined by one of my favorite teammates I ever played with. We played together in 1999 in Atlanta. He's a friend of the podcast, and this last 10 days he was elected Baseball Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Andruw Jones. Drew, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thank you for having me again, Brad. It's always an honor.
Awesome, man. I was so pumped for you. I think it's a long time coming. You went in with Carlos Beltran, who, by the way, great player. Jeff Kent played my position. I was really happy about that too. I think he deserved it. He's a top five in every category offensively for second baseman. Took him this long, but happy for all you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, man. I mean, it's one of those honors that you can say, what it all is still when you officially go in. But it's just one of those top honors that you will have in your career. That is from there is anything else doesn't really matter.
Ninth year was a charm. All right, how about this? Let's take it through the first year you're on the ballot, the second year on the ballot, the third year on the ballot, and then this year. What are the emotions you go through? Like, what's it like not to get the phone call 8 years in a row?
Well, to be honest with you, I think, it's always a great honor just to be, get your name on that ballot for Hall of Fame. That means that the Hall of Fame, the writers recognize your career. Just to be honest, is a privilege. The first year was tough. I'll barely hang in there. A lot of my friends were making fun of him because they were like, "Hey, you stay on there just barely," and from just barely stay on the ballot to make it is just a great accomplish. So every year is we were trending in the right direction. Um, I wasn't putting mine on it because I know all the guys was on that list that probably was gonna get all the votes. All I wanted to do is just stay on there and keep keep my head straight and just whenever it happened, it happened. I think nine was the time for me to go in, so now I'm in. I'm just there with so many great players that I play with, guys that I idolize, guys that open the door for me to play or for every other baseball player to play. So you're going to be on the same stage with all those great legends.
I know this week, once you got elected, you go to Cooperstown and do all the things. Have you been to Cooperstown? Have you been to an induction?
I
Not
have been
live.
I have been to two inductions. I've been to Chipper one and I've been to Derek Jeter one. I've been to Cooperstown a couple times before, maybe three times before. I went one that we played Minnesota in a Hall of Fame game in the middle of the season. And then I did my son when he was 12, I think we did that league in Cooperstown. We get a chance to walk around to the museum. I was lucky for that. And then I came one time, we did a Hall of Fame game with old timers, guys that we put together and we went out there and trying to hit baseballs all over the place.
I'll tell you, it's Drew. I've been there a few times, but I went just for one induction. I went for Trevor Hoffman's induction, and you watch it on TV. You watch it on TV all these years, and you think, oh, it's pretty cool. And you see the players, his peers or teammates, and then family, and the TV doesn't do it justice. And then when you're there and you get it, you're in the front watching your buddy or a teammate, and then you turn around and you look back. It's like I never knew it was like that. It was amazing to me that it was like Woodstock. It was like a concert, and
Yeah.
it was real. It was really cool. Now you're going to be on the stage looking at that, and you're a pretty cool customer. As far as teammates go, if people ask me about Andruw Jones, I said he's a pretty cool kid, man. He was young and not much bothered him. That's going to be a big moment for you, but speaking of you being a cool customer, when you got that call, and I know you're like, whatever, Booty, yeah, it's cool, it's great. But when you actually got that call, what kind of emotions you go through?
I actually, I was more emotional like hours before I got the call. I was just in my room. Obviously, I was in Dominican Republic playing golf. Pujols put a Players Cup in Dominican Republic. We play kind of like a Ryder Cup against the American guys. Um, I just got done playing, ate lunch, got done playing, went to my room. I took a shower and I lay in bed and I started thinking. I started thinking about my dad, my mom, and I got emotional. And then I say, maybe this might happen, this year. So I just got up and went and met a couple guys for dinner. I mean, for drinks before we have dinner. MLB set up something to with cameras to for us to be around and see see who's going in or not. But right there, I kind of felt like something is different. But when I got the call, I was having drinks with CC, Ivan Rodriguez, Orlando Duque, and Calvin Maduro. We would before we have to go for dinner. And I got the call and I just kept it cool. I didn't say nothing. And everybody, when I went up to the Hall of Fame, everybody was like, "You took that phone call very cool. Like nothing is bother you." I was like, I was around other people. I didn't want nobody to know that I got the call.
Yeah,
So I kept it cool, and then we went all met for dinner, and we watched the announcement on TV, and that's why everybody started celebrating with me.
very cool. I'm sure you got a zillion phone calls. Who's the most random phone call you got that you didn't like? Wow, I haven't heard from this guy, or I didn't expect him to call me.
I mean, I had probably like 2,000 text message, probably about 2,000 WhatsApp message,
Yeah,
a million DM from Instagram, social media. Um, I don't know. All the guys that I had, I talk with everybody. To be honest with you, I was. I mean, from Latin players to American players, everybody. I was that person that anything didn't bother me. Hey, you cool to talk? We're gonna talk whatever we need to talk about. So I stay in touch with a lot of people, but I think I talked with probably Barry Bonds for like maybe 30 minutes. He called me on my way to Cooperstown. He was like, I don't call a lot of people, but I have to call my buddy. So he called me and we talked for a little bit. But a lot of Hall of Fame guys text message me. I got a lot of calls from some of the coaches that I had through my league. Couple teammates. I mean, just congrats you. I mean, so proud that you made it. You know, so it's so many people. Be honest with you, it took me probably about 3 days to respond to everybody.
yeah. As I mentioned at the top, we played together 1 year in 1999, and I remember this. And this is going to be a love Andruw session, uh, and it should be. But you know what? I I played for or a decent amount of time, and I played on four different teams basically. And I remember there was something different about that 99 year. You were still just a kid. I was kind of in the middle of my career, and I'd never heard so much buzz about a player making a difference defensively. And I remember, Dougie and Smoltzy and Glavin, they were all talking to me. They're like, "Oh yeah, Andruw, he just makes it all work." And I'd played against you, and I knew you were a great center fielder, but I just thought, okay, how much could it? I've never seen a staff talk about defense that much, and I'm like, well, I got to see it. Well, I got to see it up close and personal, and they were right. I talk about this a lot. I got to play with a lot of great center fielders. I played with you. I played with Junior when I was a rookie. One of the greatest players of all time. I got to play with Michael Cameron, a good friend of mine who was a great defender. Torrey Hunter. So I
Yep.
played with and against a lot of players. But Drew, I got to say, uh, they asked me today. I said there was nobody like Andruw. I said he played shallow. You couldn't get a base hit in front of him, and I said, and he played shallow because he didn't worry about covering the ball over his head. So you were that defensive juggernaut. I'll tell you what, it made it a lot easier for me at second base because us, we're flying out with our back to the ball, and we got to make these, and we're just waiting for you guys to call us off.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
yeah.
that made it easy for me. Uh, you won 10 gold gloves and you deserved all of them. Tell me about, well, I know why you played shallow, but tell the Bret Boone podcast what was behind that, because you were always, when I was a kid, and I'll give you this. This is a little before your time. I
Hmm.
grew up with dad. He played in Philly on those great Philadelphia Phillies teams, and they always had Gary Maddox was the center fielder,
Hmm. Hmm.
and they used to talk about his defense. Now I was too young; I didn't know how good he was, but he famously played really shallow. Where did you get that style, or was that just something as a kid you just thought, no, this is how I play?
Just be honest with you, go back to those years with the Braves. I mean, you know, the Braves always had that great pitching staff. So all they wanted to set up on, from Bobby to Showhost or the front office, they wanted to have good defense. I think they wanted to have those guys to throw strike, let people put ball in place, and guys make plays for them. So since that, even before me, they had Otis Nixon. You have guys like Marquise Grissom. I learned so much from those guys, watch them play. But guys that helped me through my minor league years, first when I came to the States, guys like Willie Stargell helped me, to prepare myself to put myself in a good position to be a good defender. Gary Pattis, he was my
Gary
coach.
Pettis,
Gary
he
Pattis
was
was
good.
tremendous outfielder. He won like 6 Gold Glove. So I learned so much from those guys. But then I put everything to my own picture. I'm like, I want to be this person, and I just learned everybody. Be honest with you, I knew what kind of pitchers we had. I know who was hitting. I didn't have to look at a paper to see, where we're gonna play this guy or not. I would just, you know, Bobby Cox gave me that privilege of Andruw. You play what you see, and when he gave me that that chance, I was never one to let him down. So I took advantage of it, and I focused on, in the meeting. I know where we're gonna play Brad Boone. I know where we're gonna throw Brad Boone. So I know exactly where your mind is telling you where you want to go approach our batter. I mean our pitchers. So I will put myself in a position where I can defend you hitting, and I put my right field in a position where they can be okay, make the play if they make one mistake here, or make the left field make a, move him in the gap. So if they hang a breaking pitch, you put it in left center, he can make a play. So it was just not just me doing everything. It was me kind of control the whole outfield to put him in a good spot to make plays.
Speaking of Bobby Cox, and I'm sure you've heard this, I refer to it all the time because I was there when he said it. I remember one day, and you made a play, and he just kind of off the cuff said to people in the room, they're talking about great center fielders, and he said, Bobby said this, and this was no disrespect to the great Willie Mays, but he said, Willie Mays, my ass, and this is Bobby Cox who've seen Willie Mays play, and to give you, it wasn't a disrespectful thing to Willie Mays, it was more of how much respect he had for you. I thought that was kind of cool and big from somebody that watched Willie play. So to put you in that category, and then he even put you above him on the defensive side. I thought that was pretty awesome.
I mean, the thing is, though, I'll talk with somebody, not a couple, maybe a few days ago or something, and like everybody was like, see, any young player coming through the minor league, and they were like, man, this guy is probably going to be the next Willie Mays, or this guy's going to be the next Ken Griffey. It's not going to be any Willie Mays. It's only going to be one Willie Mays. It's only going to be one Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
You can have a style of playing. You can go out there and do what you can do, but it's only going to be one person. It's unfair to say that somebody so young at 18, 19 year old is going to be better than Willie Mays. There's no chance in the world because it's only going to be one Willie Mays. But to be in the same category with a legend, probably one of the best that play center field and all around baseball player, to be in the same room with him is something great. But I always wanted to be best at my position, and I work hard at it. A lot of people thought that I Cadillac a lot. I take it easy, but I put all my work in practice. So when I go in the game, I made it easy.
Yeah. As we all go through our careers and things when we're young, they're simple to do. I remember getting up in the morning and just that first swing out of bed, I can swing as hard as I want. And you see the
Yeah.
older players look at you and go, "How can you do that?" And you think Doesn't everybody feel like I feel? Now, as you get older, you went through it. We all go through it. It's
Yeah.
not the same as when we're 25 years old. Your style of playing shallow and going back as you got older, did you feel it was more of a challenge, like you had to play a little deeper, or it always stayed the
Be,
same?
be honest with you, I mean, people say I play shallow. I play shallow who was hitting. That's all I
Yeah.
did. You know, you might not see me move back. You don't want to see me move left and right, but I always was moving myself in a position where I know that if this, I respect this guy power. I mean, I'm not gonna play behind second base with Barry Bonds hitting. You know what I mean? So I know where I'm playing Barry Bonds. I know where I'm playing Maguire. I know where I'm playing Sosa. You know, I know when I know like, at that bat, you're looking to hit a land drive for a base hit. I know I'm going to move myself a little closer so I can make that play if you hit a land drive enough that for me to get there. So I just constantly moving, and then that's what made me win all those Gold Gloves because I was always putting myself in the right position to make plays.
Right, and this will be my last thing. You offensive on the offensive side of the ball, you hit 434 homers, 1,289 ribbies. I know everybody talks about your defense so much, but you were a hell of a hitter as well. Uh, but for me, I look at it, and everybody asks me about, there's so much talk these days about the Hall of Fame, who should be in, who's not. The new wave of player, Andruw, as you know, when we played, it was about what? It was about average, it was about home runs, and it was about RBIs. That's what we
Mhm.
did. If you were a stolen
Mhm.
base guy, how many bags did you steal? Nowadays, the game has changed. It's more OPS driven. It's
Mhm.
not a. It's about getting on base, walking, and hitting the ball over the fence. So we're judged differently. I think, and when they talk about Andruw, I said Andruw I put in a different category because I think he changed the game, just kind of like how Ozzie Smith changed it at shortstop. It was you changed the way people played center field, and I said that in itself, because you can't say that about everybody about a position, but I think you definitely changed it. Now I'm done doting on you, and I want to ask you some questions about today's player.
Wait. Let me go back off what you just said over there. It's so hard to compare, like we just talked earlier, to Willie Mays' number. Everybody
Right.
was like, "Well, it's only going to be one Willie Mays." So you can't compare Willie Mays to Carlos Beltran not making it the Hall of Fame because he don't have Willie Mays numbers, or Andruw
Right.
Jones because he don't have Willie Mays number. Just respect what he did, or the number he put, and consistency, and how he went about his business. Yeah, that's how the numbers came up. So nobody's gonna have Ken Griffey numbers. Nobody's gonna
Right.
have, you know, Hank Aaron numbers. Nobody's gonna have Beirut numbers. So you cannot judge everybody on, well, he got in because this and that, or that and that. So it's so hard to describe, how this whole voting go on selecting you to the Hall of Fame. But like I say, it's the one of the hardest Hall of Fames to get in. So I think when you're in, you people actually respect what all that you did, because obviously everybody talk about it, how great defensive player it was. But then when you go in, everybody start bringing all the greatest numbers and saying, like, on number white, you are the best center fielder that played the game.
Right.
So those things just, it's not, you know it, it's not fair for other players. You know what I mean? Like, I can mention so many center fielder that I think they have chance, like Torrey Hunter. He should be, he should have more votes. You know, Jim Atkins is not even, on the ballot no more. So he was a great center fielder. I admire all these guys. Playing against them, I watch them play. So I admire those guys. Kenny Lofton, guys like that. I play with Kenny. I see what he can do. So so many guys. It's hard to put him in the spot because he did not put the offensive number.
Right.
So, but was he a great defensive player? Was he a great at his position? Was he good as a good leadoff hitter? You can't compare him to Ricky Henderson.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's only going to be one Ricky Henderson. So it's hard to put all the numbers together to get that right vote for people to say, okay, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree with you. You can't really, you got to actually compartmentalize it to your generation. Like, what in his generation, how did he stack up against the other guys at his position? Because of the the magic numbers they used to say, the 3,000, the 500, that's out the window now. These guys today are all about war, and it's like in our day, where were the
Yeah.
RBI slots? Third and fourth. Now
Yeah.
you've got Shohei Ohtani hitting leadoff. So how is he supposed to compete RBIs rise with Hank Aaron or
Yeah.
Alex Rodriguez? Because he's not going to have the opportunity to drive in the runs because he's hitting in the leadoff hole. So the
Yeah.
game has changed. When we were playing, how many times did me and you talk about, hey Booney, hey Andruw, what's your OPS? We had no idea. We didn't talk about what WAR
No, I
was.
well, be honest with you. Like, if I knew, like, I was talking with somebody. If I knew, you know, on base percentage was that big, taking a
Right.
walk, I would go out there not swinging.
That's right. You play to what they're going to pay you for, and
Yeah.
I try to
Yeah.
explain that to people when they bring up war these days. I said, "Do you realize we never one time had a conversation about war? The kids today, they know what pays. They know where the check
Yeah.
comes from,
Yeah.
so they train that way. So the numbers are going to look different. We trained for, like I said, average homers, RBIs. That's what we knew. If we drove in 100, we knew what that meant. If you won a gold
Yeah.
glove, you know what that meant.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean today's is right or wrong. It's just different. And I think you really, as a voter, I think you really have to look at each generation and go, okay, were they the best of their generation? And that's how it's
Yeah.
picked. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But
You're right.
how many times did you look at a metric? I want to talk to you about those cards too. What do you think about those cards? Did you ever have one in your back pocket?
I think those cards start when I was long gone retire.
Yeah.
But
What
you
if I
know what
gave you a
though? But
card?
you
What if I
know,
gave you a card?
no, but be honest with you, I will not use the card, but I will look at it because it's just
Sure.
having a meeting that we normally had before we face the Yankees or the San Francisco, the Dodgers. We go over everybody that is in the lineup. We go over all the pitchers together. I know how my pitcher is going to attack the hitter, so I pay attention to it because I play a prime position. I know who we're going to face, where this guy's going to attack everybody on the lineup. So, you know, I think the thing is, though, everybody probably, they all love the game. They all respect the game. But sometimes I think they get a little bit too lazy when they give them those cards because the cards take away of watching other players. You just look at the paper and say, okay, this guy. But I'm watching what he's gonna do. I watch how he's feeling, how he swung on that first pitch, what he's gonna
Right.
do on the second pitch. So you watch the game and then you make adjustment and use your instincts. These guys now probably don't use instinct no more because they look at the card and be like, hey, okay, this guy, I need, they say four in the hole, so three in the hole. You know what I mean? They don't use the instincts no more. So it's kind of feel like it's laziness a little bit, to be honest with you. Not
Yeah.
disrespect nobody, but I feel like it's just not learning the opposing players.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And for me, being back on the field last year with Texas, I noticed that. And it wasn't a laziness. These kids are good kids and they love the game, but they're brought up in a different generation. It's a different culture where these cards they rely on. It's not their fault. It's how they came through the system. This is what you
True.
do. Now, I'll tell you this. The great players are still the great players and they do their due diligence and they're watching things. I told them the most
100%. I know
important
that.
yeah, the most important thing to do, and any generation, I don't care where you're from, is to watch the game. Watch the game, watch the tendencies. From a defensive perspective, really watch these guys.
Mhm.
Watch them offensively, the opponent, how they swing, what they tend to do in certain situations. From an offensive standpoint, what has this pitcher done today? How's he come at me? What's my history with him? Has he been successful pitching me one way? Well, he's probably going to pitch me that way today.
Yeah.
Has he not? What have I done in this series? Am I hot? Am I cold? What have
Yeah.
I done off the relievers? All these things formulate how you go up there and play. And I think the
100%.
great ones will always do that. But
I mean, the thing is, though, you're always going to have three or four that's the ones that's ahead of everybody. But
sure.
for you to be winning a championship, or what we all play for,
You need more than that.
you need more than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's the difference of the teams that be on the top or the teams that are finishing the bottom.
And I'll tell you this, I love the metrics today. I love the information that they have. People try to say, oh, we don't need all. I'll tell you what, I'll take all the data you can. Like your point with the card in your back pocket. You don't know that you would have used it, but you're going to take that information because that's just another tool for you. Like, all right, I
Yep.
know about this now. I want to take every bit of information I can. Andruw, I think today with all the metrics and all the analytics, sometimes analytics get squashed by especially veteran players. Like, oh, we don't need analytics. I'll tell you what, the analytics are great. I think too much information in the wrong hand is bad. But I'll tell you
True.
what, I'll take every piece of video. It's amazing all the stuff we have at our fingertips now, and just little things that And the guys today, they speak a little bit of a different language than us. They'll say, "Booney, what about this?" I'll say, "Yeah, that ball's smoked," but they'll be like, "No, it's 101 at 34 degrees." I'm still learning that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's ours was Booney. I hit the shit out of that ball. That's the same thing.
yeah,
But
yeah,
they just do it with a number, and
yeah,
that's just their generation. But I'll tell you what, after seeing it, I think there's a lot of positive stuff that come from having as much information as you possibly can at your fingertips. And the game's going to continue to go forward. That's life. It gets
yeah,
big, it gets better. It's like our iPhones. Our
yeah,
iPhones 15 years ago, they were okay. Hey, this is kind of cool. Now you can start your car in a different country.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I needed to be 72 at my house. If you're in the Dominican or in Curacao, you can ah get my house warmed up on my way home on the flight. It's just a different world. And if
yeah,
we were to just negate that and
yeah.
be, like,
I
oh
mean,
no, we don't need the analytics, you're crazy.
but to be honest with you, I mean, all the information you can get is always great. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna learn from mistakes. You're gonna learn from stuff that you do wrong. But if you have all the information, you got to take advantage of it. And this game is all about taking advantage of what they give you. I tell all these kids when I talk with them, you know those things are great, but you just have to take advantage when they give you the opportunity. And that's all I did since I was a little kid. My dad told me, you come into a different country and you got to learn their way and you have to make the adjustment to their way, and you just have to continue to take advantage when they open that door for you. So that's what I did my whole career, and then now it's payoff that I received this great honor, and this is the top of him. I know my dad is not here with us no more, but I'm sure he's looking down and see how proud he is from him.
Awesome. Uh, if I'm right, I think off those Braves teams in your early years and with the Braves, I think you're the sixth Hall of Famer off those teams.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to think: Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine, Chipper, and Freddie McGriff,
Freddie McGriff.
and now yourself. That's pretty unique. How awesome is that? And
Well,
to have five teammates on one team, and now you're the sixth, all Hall of Famers. It's pretty unique.
to be honest with you, it's just how great the Atlanta Braves been through their career. How successful they've been, how they win about the players that they pick. A lot of organizations can pick millions of players, but get to pick, to have six guys that play in the same decade era together, and they're all in the Hall of Fame is say a lot about the organization.
Last thing, what does this mean for Curacao, where you grew up?
Well, I mean, be honest with you, this is the I say it last time, when I got inducted, I say this is great for my family, for my fans, and especially Curacao. It's such a small island, to have a player that came there and make it all the way to the Hall of Fame, to make it to the Hall of Fame where a lot of people don't get a chance to get in, and to make it is a great honor to be from Curacao. I know everybody back home is so proud of me, but you know when I came here, I didn't came to say I'm going to be a Hall of Fame. I came here to open the doors for younger kids to see, that they can do it too. And when I made it, to the World Series at 19, a lot of kids was like, I want to be like that kid. I want to be like that guy. I can do it too. And all I spoke with all those kids down there, so you guys can do it too, because I was not the greatest player, you know, coming out from the Curacao at 13, 14 years old. I was a lot of great players in that thing, but I took advantage of my skills. I developed my skills. I took advantage of the opportunity that they gave me, and look where I am now. So I think everybody can do it. Obviously you got to develop your skill. You have to have discipline. You have to know why you can, why you cannot do, why you can do, and continue to learn. And anything is possible.
All right, Andruw Jones, I appreciate it, man. And once again, I can't be happier for you. I think it's well deserved. I think it's awesome. Get going on that speech. Make sure you mention Booney in it. And
I don't know. But hey, Boo, I ain't gonna go down and bury about this, but do you remember that World Series? Well, that World Series, we went back. It was like it was cold. We like struggling. It was like maybe this beer can change the game for us.
maybe, maybe it can. All of you out there listening, no, we never had a beer in the middle of the game in the World Series. No, not at all. Drew, thanks, man.
All right.
Awesome. Hope to see you soon. For all you watching the Bret Boone Podcast now, it's available on YouTube. For those of you listening to the podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you download your podcast. Until next time, keep it here.